my back blown out in peace. You think I got time to talk about a divorce that's a year old?
When the rumor first started, no one really took it seriously. A few blurry photos of Teyana at an event, her figure draped in a loose designer coat, sparked a wave of speculation online. Some fans brushed it off, saying it was just the outfit, while others swore they saw a glow in her face, something softer, something different. But for those who had followed her closely, they knew something was changing, and soon it became clear Teyana might be pregnant. It wasn't confirmed, not publicly, not yet. But the whispers were loud enough to echo across timelines, group chats, and blogs. Everyone thought, maybe, just maybe, this was her fresh start. A new beginning after heartbreak. A second chance at love and family, this time with Aaron. For weeks, Teyana remained silent. She kept posting her usual content, promo work, throwbacks, cryptic quotes. But every now and then, a fan would catch a glimpse of her in the background of someone else's video, her hand lingering over her stomach a little longer than usual. She looked happy, at least from the outside. People close to her were quietly excited, cautiously hopeful. This woman had been through hell and back, from the public unraveling of her marriage with Iman to trying to rebuild her life in a spotlight that never dims. And now, with Aaron by her side, maybe this was her season to breathe. But things were never as perfect as they looked. Behind the scenes, Aaron's behavior had reportedly started to shift. At first, it was subtle, rescheduling date nights, pulling away during red carpets, avoiding conversations that got too deep. Then, it got more noticeable. Teyana was seen attending events alone. Her fans began pointing out that Aaron hadn't posted about her in weeks. Some wrote it off as privacy, while others whispered that it was a red flag. Still, Teyana kept showing up for him. She clapped for his projects, supported his premieres, smiled in the photos even when the light in her eyes started to dim. Then came the leak. No one expected it. A voicemail, or maybe a phone call. No one knew exactly how it got out or who recorded it, but it dropped like a bomb on social media. In the recording, Aaron's voice was unmistakable, calm, emotionless, and chilling. He said, "I told you I'm not ready for this. I don't want this baby." The words cut through the noise of the internet like a blade. You could hear Teyana's voice, soft and trembling, asking, "Why are you saying this now?" Then silence. The clip ended, but the damage was done. Fans were livid, not just at what was said, but how it was said. Aaron's tone didn't have anger, it had detachment. The way someone speaks when they've already made up their mind and feel no need to explain. And Teyana? She sounded like someone who had just had her heart cracked open mid-sentence. That one clip shattered any illusion of a happy story. The internet erupted. Twitter was on fire. Instagram flooded with comments under Aaron's recent posts. People demanded answers. Many couldn't believe that after everything Teyana had survived, this was how it was playing out. One tweet went viral saying, "Teyana carried a whole man's image, supported his grind. And this is what she gets? Cold rejection in a leaked call." Hashtags like #Teyana deserves better and #Protect Black women exploded within hours. Teyana didn't respond right away. She didn't need to. Her silence said more than any caption could. 2 days passed before she posted anything. It was a picture of a half-sunset, half-moon sky with the words, "God hears what you don't say." That was all. But to those who knew, that post was full of pain. She was hurting. Deeply. Then, just when things were beginning to settle, another leak surfaced. This time, screenshots. Alleged texts between Aaron and someone else, a woman, unnamed, whose number had been saved under a fake name. The texts were blurry, but legible. In them, Aaron reportedly said, "I can't do this dad thing right now. She knows that. She's being selfish keeping it." Another message read, "She wants me to be something I never claimed I was." The betrayal wasn't just in the words. It was in the implication. Teyana was being painted as a burden, as someone forcing motherhood onto a man who didn't want it. But those who'd been following the story knew that didn't align with what they'd seen. Teyana wasn't the one making demands. She was the one left begging in that audio, asking for emotional honesty. And now the wave of support for her grew stronger. People began sharing old clips of her talking about motherhood, about wanting stability, about building a real family. They remembered how she protected Amon even after their split, how she kept quiet when she had every right to rage. Now, Aaron was showing the same pattern of emotional detachment. To many, it felt like history repeating, only crueler. More details started to emerge. A source told a blog that Aaron hadn't attended any of the early appointments with Teyana, that he hadn't checked in or asked questions, that he'd been emotionally out for weeks. Another source claimed he only got close when the cameras were around, but behind closed doors, he was cold and dismissive. Whether all of it was true or not didn't even matter at that point. The narrative had taken a life of its own. And then Teyana finally spoke. It wasn't a video. It wasn't an interview. It was a note. Handwritten, photographed, and posted to her story. It read, "Some days you wake up ready to love harder. Others, you wake up wondering why you ever loved at all. I'll be okay, just not today." That one post broke the internet all over again. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't performative.
It was raw, human.
And that's why people rallied behind her even harder. Celebrities began quietly showing support, liking the post, reposting old photos of her with empowering captions. One artist who worked with her years ago wrote, "Teyana is the definition of strength. Don't let this chapter fool you. She writes her endings in gold." That comment alone had thousands of likes. It was clear she wasn't alone. Aaron's team scrambled to contain the fallout. They released an anonymous statement to various media outlets, trying to soften the blow. The statement claimed Aaron was processing his personal emotions in private and that he holds a deep respect for Teyana. But the carefully crafted words did little to quell the storm. No one was convinced by the vague phrasing or the attempt to spin the narrative in Aaron's favor. The damage was already done. The silence from Aaron, at the moment when Teyana needed him the most, spoke louder than any public relations statement ever could. It wasn't just the absence of words, it was the absence of support, of acknowledgement, of care. In that silence, the wound deepened. Meanwhile, Teyana began her slow return to the public eye, but on her own terms. Her first appearance was unfiltered, a candid photograph shared by her team, capturing a quiet moment with her daughter, radiating a raw, unpolished beauty that contrasted sharply with the manufactured silence surrounding her. Then came a glimpse of her late-night studio sessions, hoodie pulled over her head, headphones on, lost in her craft. Her team dropped subtle hints that she was working on something deeply personal, something born from her experience. Fans waited, not with expectations of retaliation or drama, but with a patient understanding that what Teyana was about to share would be real, heartfelt, and unvarnished. It would speak to the pain and resilience that come with being discarded, overlooked, or emotionally abandoned. This wasn't merely a story about a relationship unraveling. It was a mirror held up to society. It reflected a harsh reality, how women, especially Black women, are often emotionally cast aside when they cease to be convenient or when the initial shine fades. When the masks drop and true colors show, the emotional labor they've invested can feel invisible, unreciprocated, and disregarded. Teyana's journey transcended personal heartbreak. It became a testament to strength, the kind of strength it takes to show up, to keep loving, even when love isn't returned, to keep standing tall when the other person walks away. It was a story about resilience, dignity, and the unyielding power of being unapologetically oneself, even in the face of silence and abandonment. And that baby, the unborn life Teyana had decided to carry on her own, became a powerful symbol of her defiance. It was more than just a child. It was a declaration of her strength and autonomy. In the face of betrayal and heartbreak, she chose to create something beautiful, something hopeful. This choice wasn't just about motherhood. It was about reclaiming control over her own story. Because that's who Teyana is. She doesn't simply survive adversity. She transforms through it, turning pain into purpose. As the days passed, Aaron's silence only deepened. He disappeared from the spotlight, his public appearances growing scarce. Behind the scenes, whispers spread. Brands hesitated to work with him. Industry insiders watched cautiously, waiting to see how he would respond to the growing storm. Whether the rumors were true or not, the narrative had shifted drastically. From a rising star full of promise, Aaron was now seen as emotionally distant, someone unable, or unwilling, to stand by the woman who needed him most. But for Teyana, the opposite was true. Her light grew brighter with each passing day. She began to share hints of what she was working on, moody black and white clips of herself alone in a quiet room, a soft piano melody weaving through the background. Lyrics surfaced that felt raw and intimate, like pages from a deeply personal journal. Fans quickly dubbed this her lemonade moment, recognizing the power and vulnerability she was bringing into her art. Maybe that's exactly what it was. Not the end of her story, but the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter she hadn't planned for, filled with wounds no one else could see. But one she walked through with grace, with fire, with love, and above all, with unshakable purpose. Because in the end, Aaron may have said, "I don't want this baby," but Teyana made it clear. She chooses herself. She chooses life. She chooses healing. And the world, it's watching. But more than that, it's learning that strength doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like choosing to love a child who wasn't wanted by the one who helped create it. Sometimes it looks like standing in the storm, soaking wet, and still singing. This is Teyana's moment. Not one she asked for, but one she's owning anyway. And Aaron? Well, he'll just have to watch from the sidelines. Because she's not waiting for his applause. She's writing her own legacy. And that, more than anything, will be the loudest answer to everything he didn't say.